What's your waste? Don't you love that play on words? This is not dietary advice, but instead, well, perhaps, Julia, you tell us. What's your waste?
Okay, well, what this is about is that there's a lot of businesses that I go to or see, and people say, you know, we're working really, really hard, but we're not really making any money. You know, not making enough for all that effort. And, you know, businesses are then, the teams have gone and looked through to see, you know, what can we cut out? You know, where are we spending a lot? And there's a very few small and medium-sized businesses that spend too much in any area. But often what they're doing, especially if we take an example of a service business, is over-servicing and doing too much for their customers, which the customers don't want and won't pay for. And it's phenomenal if you actually drill down and look at some of the data on this about how much is wasted in a business. I mean, I have been to a lot of service businesses that are wasting upwards of 20% of the employees' time because the employees are doing stuff which the customer didn't want and no one's going to pay for. And it's disheartening for the employees because you want to do a good job and you feel, you know there's nobody really valuing it, and it's just a complete waste. And it happens over and over and over again. And so my tip here is really thinking about where could the waste be? So in service businesses, often in people's time. I mean, in retail, a big waste obviously is in buying the products which can't be sold at the price which you think it's going to be sold at. And especially small and newish retailers think, oh, look, I'm just going to, you know, I might have to discount 5%, but everything else is going to have 100% markup on it. And normally it would be discounting, you know, 75, 80% of the inventory. And it's a huge amount of waste. But without that mindset of where's the waste and what can I do about it, we sort of get straight into, oh, you know, can I cut the phone bill? You know, which is never a good option.
Right. Okay. Dale, thank you. Dale, you work a lot with small businesses. You do a lot of kind of systematizing and proceduralizing, if that's a word, with small business. Is this a topic that comes up regularly for you? Or subject with that?
And I like to look at it as wasting time. Time is money.
Yeah.
If you look at you know, the income that you need to be making as an entrepreneur, like if you work at your hourly rate, as a minimum, if you want to be making more than 100 grand a year, your time is now worth $200 an hour. So you've got to ask yourself the question, is what I'm doing right now worth $200 an hour? Or could I pay somebody else to do this task for less than $200 an hour? So ideally, what you want to do is move to a position where you're only doing tasks that are the best and the highest use of your time. So you need to write out what all those tasks are and then put a dollar value as how much this task actually earning, and then move off your plate anything that's less than that $200 an hour mark and start doing only the tasks above that. And you need to start acting as if that's true right now, even though it might not be, and sooner or later it will become true. And then every year, you know, doubling that particular goal and saying my time's now worth $400 an hour. Now I've got to make new decisions about my business. What do I need to stop? What do I need to keep doing? Because there are some non-negotiables. No matter how successful you become, you're going to have to check your, you know, P&L every, you know, fortnight or whatever. But then what are the things that I need to start doing? So for me, it's about, you know, you got to get rid of what you don't want to make room for what you do want. So every single year, you need to step up your income. You need to get rid of all of the low priority tasks, and you need to start doing the things that are going to take you up to that next level.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you. Everybody else like to chip in?
Yes.
Yes.
Just add on to that is I think also thinking not just of what's in the business, but what you do outside of the business as well, because they are the things that take a lot of time up as well, and outsourcing as much as you can of, you know, the jobs that there are to do in running a house or a family or whatever those things are, to treat them in exactly the same way as you would a business cost and outsource those as well.
We come on to this topic at a later. Paul, yes.
As a professional service firm, you've got billable hours, and some of you would have billable hours, or, you know, any customer interfacing stuff is when you're billable. Wouldn't worry about that. The best partners that I've seen in professional service firms are absolutely focused on how they use their non-billable. The billable will often take care of itself. So if you can actually just put, to start with, 10% of your time, which is not a lot, and that's leadership time, that's entrepreneurial time, that's reflection time, not necessarily me time for you, but you in the business. Put something in the diary where you're going to, the old saying, work on the business, not in the business. The time waste is when you're not customer facing. And if you don't have a structure, if you don't have a scaffolding to make that happen, your time will just pizzle away, and at the end of the day, at the end of the week, you'll be very upset. So look at how you use your non-customer, or in my case, non-billable time. Absolutely vital.